And hello everyone, welcome back. So, as you can see, I've already done a couple of things here, and let me just save, just because I need to save. You already know how to make solids, but in case anyone was wondering what we're doing, whoops, that is not the thing I'm doing. There we go. So, we're doing this. We've got a one red square, 100 by 100, a blue rectangle, 300 by 100, and a yellow square, 400 by 400. Already gone over this, we don't need to know how to make that again. Now, with that being said, what we're going to be working on is we're going to be doing expressions, and this is where these little tiny clips kind of help out. So, these little buttons, they'll show you, hey, here's expressions, here's how to rotate with time, here's how to loop, here's how to get the true position of a parent object, delay a position from its parent, so on and so forth. And then just basics, like what is time, what is a loop, you know? So we could say that sort of stuff, blah, 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 do that, do that, do that. All these sort of things. Now, we're not going to get far too demanding in this as far as expressions go. So, but here's what an expression is. An expression is, say like if I wanted to click the scale here, I can always scale things up to 100%, 200%, so on and so forth. But if I were to, since I'm on a Mac, I'll hit Option click. It'll be Alt click for you guys on PC. If I click the stopwatch while holding that button down, you'll notice that now these objects become red. And at the same time, down here, we've got ourselves, transform scale. Now what we're doing is we're going to be typing code. I can type complete utter gibberish and get a complete error. But if I actually type in the proper code in the coding language it wants, it will be able to understand what you're doing. So if I say wiggle, because we've used the wiggler before, and then inside the wiggler we get two commands here, So if I say 100 by 100, that means it's going to wiggle 100 times a second at 100 intensity. And if I scroll through this, you'll see that my scale is wiggling back and forth throughout all eternity without me having to put in a bunch of different keyframes, without me having to go into the wiggler over here, click and drag it, move it over. I can just simply write an equation for it. So, but we're not going to actually rotate the scale of that. What we're going to be using on this is going to be doing the rotation. We're going to set the rotation here. And what exactly are we setting the rotation to? We are setting the rotation to 0 to 360 over 10 seconds. That's going to sound confusing, but there's actually a very easy way to do this. There's actually two very easy ways to do this. One requires knowing the math in your head. The other one requires just doing a divide. So, if I were to click this rotation and I go and say command, oops, not command, undo. I didn't want command. There we go. Option clicking, there we go. Or alt clicking for you guys on PC once again. Time. And it's going to go time inside that parentheses. So it's going to rotate via time. Via time how much? Currently the time is 0. And you'll get an error because currently I'm rotating by the time, but the time of what? Time of we don't know. Well, we know that a circle is 360 degrees. So it'll rotate 360 degrees. Time, divide by 10. And now, if I play, it should be, excuse you, you should be rotating. Okay. Let's try that again. Option click, transform rotation, and all this time I'll multiply it by time. By time, 360. 360, and we want over 10 seconds for the full circle. Error 1 over 1. Why are you doing error 1 over 1? Excuse you. You know how I said there's always one thing that screws up every single time? It's just simply time. It should just be simply time. So times, because it's not parentheses, David, it's literally a multiplication. Time times 360 divided by 10. Now that'll work. So I was doing the wrong coding language. I was putting parentheses in. I was doing Python. So it's literally just time multiplied by 360 over 10. And what that means is it's over 360 degrees will take 10 seconds. So in theory, if we watch this over here, or if we watch these little arrows right over here, of the numbers I mean, at, 5 seconds, we're at about 180. And then at 10 seconds, look at that, we're at 1 full rotation. That means we typed this correctly. Now, the other way is we could do the math in our head there. Instead of doing the 360 divided by 10, well, that would just be times 36. And this will get you the exact same result of, look at that. Now we're at 10 seconds. And boom, we're at 360 once we cross over that threshold of the 10-second mark. So we know that if we hit play, this expression will, over the span of 10 seconds, will fully rotate once. There we go. Let's save this. So we know we got that part working right. What's the next part we got to work on here? I put parentheses when I didn't need parentheses. It's literally just multiply. Literally just multiply. I'm so used to putting parentheses. Use that parameter to drive the scale of the blue rectangle. So here we go. So we got the blue rectangle, we got the scale. And we know that this rotation is going to change the scale. So I could always just do this little wiggly thing right there and then go boom like this, and it'll grow like that because it's, connected to the scale here. I could always do it that way. That's the easy way to do this, by simply doing a toggle. Let's try another equation here, though, because I'm apparently a glutton for punishment. So this time I'll do the Option click, or the Alt click for you guys, this guy. So if I switch this and I'll say, this comp dot layer. And what layer is it? It's going to be the red solid. And I'm going to do the dot rotation. So now, in theory, okay, error 1 out of 1. What'd I do? Expression result must be a dimension of 2, not 1. This comp dot layer, red solid, dot rotation. One. Was that what you mean by that? No. Unidentified value used in expression could be out of range. Okay. Let's just use the rotation 1. Would that work? Rotation times 1. Error expression result is the dimension of 2, not 1. Expression result must be a dimension of 2, not 1. Oh, that's right. I see what it's trying to tell me. I have an X and a Y position. Rotation only has 1. So I need to separate this from the X and the Y. So the rest of this is all right. I just need to do this layer dot scale dot x equals, will that work? Okay, how do I separate x and y? Scale x, x, scale dot x. No, that's not going to work then. Okay, one moment. This is where our good friend, these help files, help us out. Or more specifically, var rectangle info, red x, var width, rectinfo.width, customizing the appearance, the width, the height. I could use variables right here. var the width equals the text info.width. Okay, this is where our good friend Google, After Effects, expression, scale X. Scale only X. Expression for scale only of X-axis. Adobe. Boop, 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 boop. Transform.scale. Okay, you should add any arrays, 2 values in the case. Mix source the value, following will work. This layer, transform scale. Copy. Let me fix this now. This layer, transform scale, plus, oh, I see what I need to do. Here we go. Here's where my 2 dimensions are going to go. Duh. Okay, so it's going to be this comp dot layer red solid 1 dot rotation. So if I put the rotation inside both parameters, I should have known that to begin with. This comp layer dot layer, this layer is blue solid, transform scale. So this blue solid, there we go. And matter of fact, I probably don't even need to say this comp dot layer. I probably need to only say this layer. This layer dot transform dot scale. There we go. Now it'll scale up X and Y with us with that layer. There we go. Okay, so I got the this layer dot transform dot scale plus, and then there's the stuff inside my square brackets. My red, I'm putting the rotation for X and the rotation for Y. I put the rotation, even though it's only it only has one possible option, rotation or not rotation. I needed 2 arguments, an X and a Y, so I just put the rotation in the X area, which is the first part, and in the Y area, which is the second part. So there we go. We fixed that. Once again here, I can do the same thing. I could just simply parent the rotation. I can simply parent the opacity to this rotation, and as it grows, it'll grow from 0 to 360. But, once again, like I said, that's the easy way out. So, what I can do is, once again, we'll do an option click here, and this time I'll do this layer, now that I'm going to type it out here, this layer dot transform dot opacity plus, and here we go, square bracket time, this comp dot layer, and it's red solid 1 dot rotation. And thankfully, this is only a one thing, so it doesn't have to worry about it. So I could just now go, whoop, and in theory, the rotation drives the opacity. Oh, I'm using a plus. So maybe multiply. There we go, multiplied. So now we have multiplied by nothing. Now it exists. Oh, that was quick. I probably don't want to multiply. Let's use a plus instead. Plus. Okay, well, here's the problem. The plus is always positive, so it's going from a positive opacity to a completely positive. Okay, let's see here. Let's do this then. Let's put this inside. Let's do some funky little math here now. And we'll do that. Divided by 100. Let's see if that'll work. So now in theory, it's not going to be exactly 100. Okay. Let's do minus 100 into that. So now it's 0. There we go. Now it's growing. I just had to subtract 100 from it. Okay, cool. So now what's happening is it's growing up, and it just has 100 that it's going to have to deal with first before it becomes a complete, fully solid layer. So there we go. That is basically using 3 different expressions to make these things move. As you can see, you have to make sure you type things correctly, and there's troubleshooting involved because, one typo screws up everything. And you also have to understand what's happening with the math. Like this was a multiplication, the multiplication wasn't working, the plus was going from 0 to 100 exactly, so I had to subtract 100 to get there more slowly and gradually. But there we go, that is in fact working with the expressions. And that is one of the things that we need here. Because the other part of this, besides working with these expressions, is we need ourselves a new composition here. And, a new composition, add a second comp, and add audio to your project, then in this comp. So, let me make myself first off, let's save this, because we're good with saving. File, new composition, and I'll name this the audio. Okay, I'll just name this audio just for the sake of audio. Now on audio, those of you probably saw this audio library. I already just downloaded free stuff off of YouTube here for this audio library. But let me just go and file, import, file, and it should be in my documents. I'm pretty sure that's where I saved it to.